What's up, you guys? So the Twitter account DC Film News released some news yesterday that was pretty freaking huge. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe and follow DC Film News on X, as they are probably the best source for all DC film news. They write, James Gunn said when Mike DeLuca hired him to write Superman, it was going to be separate from the DCEU, similar to the Batman. Now, for the longest time, many of us believed that Walter Hamada was the one that hired James Gunn to write a Superman script, but as it turns out, it was Mike DeLuca. Now, this was a very forward-thinking plan. If you're not a huge fan of the Snyderverse or Henry Cavill's Superman, then I'm going to give you a separate Superman universe made by James Gunn, similar to Matt Reeves' The Batman. So he was trying to appeal to all the different DC fans. Now, let's not forget, this is supposed to be a multiverse, so why not have a separate Superman universe, a separate Batman universe, and then the main DCEU timeline with the Justice League and all the expanded characters and universes that are in the DCEU. So this idea was actually fairly genius, if you ask me, but it's also saying that the general audience was not going to get confused, which I think is a major cop-out, because if you have a multiverse, you can do different iterations of the character at the same time, for that matter. Now, Mike DeLuca was brought in August of 2022. Soon after he took over with Pamela Abney, that he reached out to James Gunn to write that Superman script. Now, we know that James Gunn was offered Superman back in the day, back when he was making The Suicide Squad, and he turned it down because he didn't know how to exactly tackle a Superman story. But this would give him time to write and flesh out a true Superman script. In the meantime, David Zaslav had assigned Pamela Abney and Mike DeLuca as presidents of Warner Bros. Pictures and to oversee DC Films. Now, quickly they made changes to the plan that Walter Hamada had in place. Hamada was building up to a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie, which would have basically kicked off with The Flash. The Flash was set to reset the DCEU and introduce characters like Leslie Grace's Batgirl, Sasha Calle's Supergirl, Michael Keaton as Batman, but DeLuca was not too enthused about this idea, and with help from Alan Horn, they made changes to that universe and made changes to the end of The Flash as well, bringing back Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill, along with Sasha Calle and Michael Keaton's Batman. They would all cameo at the end of The Flash, revealing that The Flash is now in the new DCEU, which would include some of the characters that Zack Snyder had casted, along with some of the new characters that were brought on during the Hamada regime. But then the news dropped that David Zaslav had hired James Gunn and Peter Safran as co-heads of what is now known as DC Studios. And this came on the heels of Henry Cavill's return in Black Adam and his announcement that he is back as Superman. The very next day, James Gunn nixed that idea and said that he had a conversation with Henry Cavill and he will not be the Superman moving forward. Now, why would he do that? There was a huge fan following for Henry Cavill's Superman. Well, since he had already started writing the script for his new Superman movie, James Gunn had decided that that would be the Superman of the DCU. Now, remember, he was hired to write a script that was separate from the DCEU. So essentially, he was creating his own universe the moment he started writing Superman. And so once he took over, he realized, this is the universe that I want to start. I don't want to try to rehabilitate or rehash the already existing universe. And I think that both James Gunn and Peter Safran looked at the state of the DCEU. It was messy, it was confusing, it was in shambles, and they felt the best course of action was to reboot the entire universe. So ultimately, Mike DeLuca hiring James Gunn to write a Superman script ended up being the demise of the DCEU, because once Gunn took over, he already had started his new universe on the script of Superman Legacy, which will later be turned into Superman. It's funny how that worked out, because at one point we almost got the original Justice League, Henry Cavill, Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, and Ben Affleck back as the Justice League with some new characters mixed in, Sasha Calle, Michael Keaton. But now that universe has been put to bed, and now it's James Gunn's DCU that's coming in 2024. Guys, what do you think about this news that James Gunn was hired by Mike DeLuca to write a separate DCEU Superman? And should they have gone that route and had a separate Superman universe, a separate Batman universe, and then a main DCEU universe? Or should they just have rebooted the whole thing and started a new DCU? Guys, leave your comments in the comment section below. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. We also have merchandise to teespring.com down below. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by becoming a member or joining us over on Patreon. And for all you sports fans out there, check out The Krug Show. Larry Krueger has a fire show on YouTube. He covers everything from Warriors, Giants, and Niners. So check out The Krug Show weeknights on YouTube. And with that being said, I will catch you guys next time.